So, like, how did you get into this field? How did you get to where you are? Like, I'm sure there's not just a simple, oh yeah, I just want to apply and become that person. Is there a way of like, does everyone go through this similar process, or is it completely different for everybody?
The most of the people, I am curious. I am a naturally curious person about the world and all facets of it. So when I meet people in my industry, I'm constantly asking them. I'm just at the tail end of a cold, so I'll be coughing through this whole thing.
That's fine, yeah. We'll cut out the editors for sure.
So I'm always asking people, so how did you get in this role? How did you end up, the biggest art directors I've worked with, the biggest producers, and most of them just kind of fell into it, which is a really unhelpful answer for people who are working their butts off to try and get where I am today, whatever that means.
I just fell into it.
I just
really
fell into it.
Inspirational story there.
So there's this thing called survivorship bias, which is the idea that in order to get where we want to be, we're looking at the people who succeeded at getting there rather than looking at kind of the graveyard of dreams that never actually happened. So for instance, a 12-year-old kid goes, Justin Bieber got discovered on YouTube, so I'm going to be on YouTube. I've heard kids be like, oh, I don't need school. I'm just going to be a YouTube star. What they don't see is the millions and millions of people who never ever make it. So we look at people who are doing what we want to do, who are doing what our dreams are, and we go, I want to be them, and I'm gonna be able to become that way, and I guess we look at the steps that we think we need to take or the steps that they took to get there. But what we don't see is the millions and millions of non-Justin Biebers that are out there who never turned into Justin Bieber. So I never looked at people in advertising and went, I want to be in advertising. I just looked around one day and went, oh, I'm in advertising. And then I went to, I had some time on my hands. I'm a very busy person. I never ever stop. So I had launched one of my businesses, and it was 5 years old, and 5 years is that lovely mark where things are, pretty much taking care of themselves, and all the really, really hard work of building up to that point was done. So now my business was just ticking over.
What sort of business was it?
That was a photography business. It's still going. And so I had a few hours on my hand every week, and I thought, what can I do? So I decided I was going to go get a master's degree in advertising. I was interested in advertising. I got my job at Global Fire pretty much at the same time as I got accepted to ad school. So we decided that I was going to keep trying to manage both and see what would happen.
Where did you decide to say, okay, I'm going to go, so your business had got to a position where it's running itself and you had that free time. What was the decision, what was that kind of moment in time that you thought, okay, I'm going to go and do this now? Was it where you've been doing loads of research for ages, or was it just like an off-the-cuff moment? And just okay.
Like all of my decisions, it was just like, this feels good, I'm going to do this.
So you're like that, you're spontaneous and you just go and do it?
Yes.
Love it. Okay, cool.
And lots of stuff doesn't work out, but I try and be flexible and agile and go with the flow and see what happens. I try out lots of stuff, make lots of mistakes, mess lots of things up, and drop a lot of balls. But a lot of things stick, I think, if you're brave enough to just go, oh, I'll try this. So I went to ad school and I tried. And I realized that a lot of the kids, and now I can say kids, if you're like 25, I'm like, you kids.
There's millennials now, okay.
So technically I'm a millennial, but I feel like I'm about 70 years old inside my head. I'm a very old soul. All these kids, their aspirations were to be doing, in 10 years after graduating, what I was doing then. I was in a small agency, so I had the ability to really make a big difference. It's hard when a lot of them had dreams of like going to the big London, gonna go to the city, I'm gonna go to the city. Yeah. And they will start out, in a very, a role that doesn't allow them to like have much sway because it will be a big agency. But I was in a tiny agency and I had a lot of freedom to try out ideas and to kind of go, I think we should do this and let's go chase this brand. And so I just looked around and realized that I was already doing what they were there studying to want to do. And I just thought, this was, I just quit.
Right.
And
so you quit ad school.
I quit ad school.
Interesting.
Because I went, I had a couple of professors who did change my life. And when I look back with retrospect, I go, oh, that's why I was there. Because I was meant to meet that person. I was meant to take that class. I was meant to learn that thing. And then, so I did everything but the dissertation, basically.
So you did all the learning, but then...
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's cool. It's in my head. I paid for the whole thing in one go, and I was just like, okay, cool. I got the knowledge, and next, which is how my brain works. I just bounce around a lot. So I realized that they are working really, really hard to get where I am, and I don't know. Most of the kids that I think did end up finishing that program, none of them are in anything remotely reflecting advertising.
Are you really serious?
That I can tell from like following them on Instagram or whatever.
What do you think that is?
I think it's this survivorship bias. I think it's this,
right,
this is what I want to do. This is what I perceive that these people did to get there. I will take those steps. I will get there too. Most of us just fell into it.